Adrian Newey's jump to Aston Martin is the most impactful acquisition to happen in F1 in years. And yes, that also includes Lewis Hamilton's move to Ferrari. Every bit of success in Formula One, well, it begins with car design. And Newey is the man who created the winningest car ever, the RB19, which Max Verstappen drove to a record 19 wins in 2023. Considered the greatest designer in F1 history, Adrian Newey has 13 different drivers' titles to his resume to go along with 12 Constructors' Championships as well. He's been at the helm for 2 separate three-peats in Max Verstappen's current reign and Sebastian Vettel's 4 straight championships between 2010 and 2013. Newey also built the cars that crowned some of the sport's other legends, including Nigel Mansell, Alain Prost, Damon Hill, and Jacques Villeneuve. In a 2023 podcast, when discussing career regrets, Newey cited working with Lewis Hamilton or Fernando Alonso would have been fabulous. And in 2025, he'll now have that opportunity. Sources telling me that this is a deal that runs over 6 years, and he'll be making in between 20 to 25 million per year. Now, there are also other teams that were involved in trying to get Adrian Newey's services, McLaren and Ferrari. In particular, 2 of those teams that were really pushing to try and get Newey on board with this team. Rumors are that Ferrari actually was turned down numerous times by Adrian Newey. But it's important to point out that for him, money wasn't a huge deal. Aston Martin met what his demands were, and McLaren and Ferrari were willing to go up and above all of that. But what was the key thing, or the key things that really convinced Newey to join up with Aston Martin? Obviously, one of them being Lawrence Stroll, who really spearheaded this entire thing of getting Adrian over to their team. Now, Lawrence's vision as well, taking this team from when it was Force India and getting them out of receivership and then turning them into Racing Point and then into Aston Martin, and the recruitment process that Lawrence Stroll went on. This was a team that was down to 300 plus employees, and now this team is at 800, 900 plus. And so that right there, and all of the money that Lawrence has spent to get this thing up off the ground and really make it a competitive team, investing in this brand new state-of-the-art factory. And so for all of these things, it was very convincing for Newey, and that is what brought him over to Aston Martin. I think not only was it Lawrence Stroll and his vision that Newey really bought into, but I think a big part of it also was this factory, this state-of-the-art factory. I've been in it twice. I've toured it twice, spoken to a lot of the employees who've worked inside of it. And when we take a look at all of the other factories that are out there in Formula One, this one that's come online here in Silverstone, it's looking into the future. A lot of AI running this factory, robotics, brand new state-of-the-art wind tunnel, brand new state-of-the-art simulator. All of these things that Newey will get to work with as well was really important in securing his services. And then also, I think, thirdly, is to work with Honda. Obviously, working with Honda at Red Bull Racing, now working with Honda in 2026 at Aston Martin. For those who don't know, Aston Martin is going to be a works Honda team in 2026 in Oddworns, and that's huge when you have a massive engine regulation that is coming into Formula One for 2026. To get yourself a works team or a works engine partner that you can team up with is extremely important for this new age of F1 that we're going to be entering here in the next few years. And so for Adrian working with Honda, that was really important to him, to have that communication with another OEM or another engine manufacturer that really understands what it takes to build not only a great engine, which Honda can do, but building a great race car. And that's where Adrian Newey obviously comes in. And finally, I think one of the big things is team personnel. I had mentioned Lawrence Stroll going on a recruiting process and bringing in new people. Well, gone is former Aston Martin president Martin Whitmarsh, and in comes Andy Cowell, who Lawrence really pushed hard to get Andy Cowell to come on and be the president of this team. Andy Cowell, a part of Mercedes for so long, especially their championship winning seasons. Andy Cowell, a part of Mercedes when they went on that crazy run, winning 6 constructors championships. And so for Lawrence to pull him away and get him onto Aston Martin was really important, because there were a lot of other teams that were out there who were trying to get Andy Cowell's services over the past few months. Then obviously Lawrence went out and made a huge statement in luring away Enrico Cardile from Ferrari. This is a guy who is extremely important at Ferrari and building their Formula One cars. So now Cardile coming over to Aston Martin, being put in this chief technical officer role. He's going to be overseeing a lot of how this race car gets built. And Newey wanted to work with these other guys. Andy Cowell obviously being just so important for teams to try and have that guy on their team. And so for Newey to be able to work with him, that was important. Then also Newey being able to work with Enrico Cardile, also an important figure as well. And so, I look at all of this like the Miami Heat Big Three, and Newey being the LeBron James of the whole thing. And then I think also on top of that, when we look at Newey's track record, I mean, this is a guy who he knows how to win. 13 drivers' championships he's helped won. 12 constructors' titles under his belt as well. This guy's like the MVP of Formula One. Every regulation change that we have been through in F1, he has set trends where other teams just basically go out, take a look at what Adrian Newey's done, and try to copy whatever it is. Look at the RB19 from last season, Max Verstappen's championship-winning car, one of the greatest Formula One cars we've ever seen built. Adrian Newey, that was his. He's a big part of why that car was what it was. And then if you take a look at the RB20, how Red Bull started off this Formula One season, this 2024 campaign, really strong. But then once Newey decided that he had had enough of Red Bull racing and wanted to pick up and leave, then we really started to see how much Red Bull has gone downhill with their car without having the safety net of Adrian Newey, really being there just to take a look at the whole car and what it's doing and what has gone wrong for them. So that's how important this guy is and what he can do for your team and how he can really change things at your team. So I think when we boil it all down, this is going to be Adrian Newey's, I think, last team he ever works with. And I think for him, one of the most important things is obviously winning, but leaving his track record intact as one of the winningest car designers in Formula One history.